Hi and bonjour to this new video in which you're going to see a trip with the French TGV from Marseille to Paris. As shown here, we start at St Charles train station right in Marseille. From there we go all the way north with short stops in Aix-en-Provence as well as Avignon. Just as always, I created an animation that summarizes the main aspects of this little railway adventure. So we need roughly 3 hours and 25 minutes for an airline distance of 410 miles. This is Marseille St Charles. It was completed in 1848, but of course there were various changes made ever since to adapt it to today's railway services. Nevertheless, it retained its charm and you have a wonderful view over the city. Here I'm entering the station. As you can see, it used to be very crowded in pre-corona times and there was no such thing called social distancing. That leads me to the reality of travel today and my channel. I wanted to make some more videos about the TGV on different routes, but at this moment France is struggling with a second wave of infections. The same applies to Austria, where I wanted to test the railjet. Everything is very fragile and creating fresh content is not easy at all. Okay, back to this trip where I would like to tell you more about the ticket that I have booked. Well, I purchased a standard first class ticket, which cost me €156. It comes with a number of advantages, such as a better cabin, but it doesn't cover lounge entry. However, I happened to make another trip where it was part of my ticket, so I can still show you the Salon Grand Voyageur here in Marseille.
Bonjour.
Bonjour. Merci beaucoup. Bienvenue au salon.
Merci.
French railway lounges aren't spectacular in what they offer. This is not different in this lounge. It's a good place to wait for your train and you can get some work done, but if you expect a buffet and champagne, that's not the right place. At least there is a Wi-Fi connection, you can get a cup of coffee and some water, and there are those tablet computers. All in all, there's really not that much to explore here. Having phone calls, by the way, is not allowed, and they actually enforce that rule. Okay, let me transform myself back to the actual trip I want to show you in this video. There I have already arrived at my platform. You can only access it with a valid ticket. That's similar in Italy, as you may remember from my videos about the Frecciarossa. With over 400 meters, those platforms are quite long, and that is needed because, like in this case, they sometimes connect 2 train sets to increase capacity. Okay, and this is my train. Strangely enough, it seems that they used a spare part from a TGV with a different paint job. The train itself is a TGV Duplex, a double-decker high-speed train, which is SNCF's workhorse. Before I bought the train, let me give you some facts about it. The TGV Duplex has a maximum speed of 320 km per hour and a capacity of 508 passengers, which means that if I'm not mistaken, this very train can transport over 1,000 people. My seat is located on the upper floor. The cabin design reminds me of the Thales and the TGV Lyria. Seems like it comes straight from the 90s. However, SNCF has a program to revamp the cabins of these trains. I believe this cabin aged well, it is still comfortable and it offers most of the things that a passenger needs. With that being said, I would certainly appreciate a more modern appearance. But for a fan of the 90s, this must be a dream. Okay, next topic, the seat features. Not too many, and they're pretty self-explanatory. The seat position can be adjusted with the touch of this button. Again, that's something I know from the Thalys. This is the menu with various food options. I have pre-ordered a meal when I booked my ticket, and you're going to see how that worked out a little bit later. As far as legroom is concerned, it's good. My legs are quite long and I could sit here without any problems. One thing that I noticed is that the cleaning could be done more thoroughly, especially in the area around the garbage can. The tray table is rather massive. On most new trains and planes they aren't very stable, but this one is. In case you haven't noticed already, the configuration of this cabin is 2-1, with certain seats facing each other. Okay, we are leaving Marseille, and now let me give you some more background information on the TGV. First of all, France has been a country of fast trains for a very long time. Back in the 1950s, more precisely in 1955, SNCF set a new speed record of 331 km per hour. And in 1967, there were already trains in service that would have a maximum operating speed of 200 km per hour. Then in 1974, President Pompidou started the TGV project between Paris and Lyon, and in 1981, the first TGV was introduced between those cities, and from there a success story developed. In this animation, you see the passenger numbers in different years. They started with 1.26 million travelers in 1981, and today the TGV transports over 100 million people each year. So I believe it is fair to say that the French did a lot of things right when it comes to high-speed trains. They managed to create a real alternative to the plane.
Mesdames, Messieurs, bonjour. Toute l'équipe Paris Méditerranée souhaite la bienvenue aux voyageurs qui nous rejoignent à la gare de Marseille St Charles dans notre TGV inOui à destination de Paris Gare de Lyon. Nous vous rappelons que pour le confort de tous, un agent de propreté est présent à bord de notre train. Merci de lui réserver le meilleur accueil. Également que la voiture bar se trouve à l'étage en voiture 4 au centre de la rame. Nous vous rappelons également, pour le confort de tous, de mettre vos téléphones en mode silencieux. Les plateformes vous permettent de passer vos appels en toute discrétion. Mesdames, Messieurs, nous pourrons être amenés à vérifier vos titres de transport. Merci de respecter votre place. En attendant de vous rencontrer, nous vous souhaitons un agréable voyage.
Alright, we are in the outskirts of Marseille. In the background, you can now spot a cruise ship at the port of Marseille, one of the most important ports in Europe. Here I am recharging my cameras while arriving at our first stop, the TGV station of Aix-en-Provence. We're still in beautiful southern France. And when you see the train rushing through the French landscape and think about the statistics that I have shown you earlier, one question comes up immediately, which is, why is the TGV so successful? Well, you just have to take a look at different travel options and the time that they take. If you wanted to make this very trip by foot, you'd need to walk for 155 hours. If you take the car instead, you need roughly 7 to 8 hours. As mentioned before, this TGV makes this trip in 3 hours and 25 minutes. So the only real competitor left is the plane, which takes 1 hour and 20 minutes. But you know as well as I do that you need to get to the airport, you need time for check-in, security and so on. As a result, your total travel time can easily be longer than that with the TGV. So that's the answer. The train à grande vitesse, as they say in French, is quick, it is available several times per day, and it is competitively priced. That way, it rendered many flights within France obsolete. At this point we're in Avignon. Just like the one before, this is a special train station reserved for TGV trains. Opened in 2001, it is famous for its 340-meter-long roof. Next to it, there are a lot of parking lots, so the idea is that you leave your car and take the train. The onboard Wi-Fi was reliable, as my Fox News CNN test shows. As I have told you earlier, I had pre-ordered a meal online. Here's how it works. You have to show up at the bar coach at a specific time to get it. That's a straightforward process, but keep in mind this was pre-corona, so I don't know how things are handled now.
Bonjour, j'ai fait une commande sur votre page web. Pourriez-vous ajouter une bouteille d'eau, s'il vous plaît? Ça coûte combien?
2,60.
2,60. Ah bon, merci beaucoup. Ok, merci.
Okay, that worked out fine. I got my meal without any problems, and additionally I bought a bottle of water for €2.60. What kind of meal am I talking about all the time? Once again I created a little animation so I can explain that to you in detail. I translated the menu to the best of my knowledge, but of course errors are possible. Basically, it's a 3-course meal with a starter, a main course and a dessert. I had a red wine with it, and everything cost me €18.90. While the price for the meal itself is okay, the presentation of the food could be improved. There's plastic packaging all over the place, which probably makes it more convenient for SNCF and the staff, but neither does it look good, nor is it environmentally friendly. Besides, it can also be difficult to open, so this is definitely something that could be improved. Quality-wise, it is okay though, and as always, I do appreciate that you can buy something to eat on these trains. This is the Cabernet Sauvignon from Pays d'Oc, which as far as I know means it comes from southern France and the Mediterranean area. Now let's enjoy the food and the landscape that we are passing. I'll be quiet for the following 52 seconds. Alright, time for the usual lavatory check. Again, everything in this train has the spirit of the 90s. As you see, we are about to arrive in Paris. So from my perspective, SNCF provides a very decent travel option. The TGV is still a masterpiece of engineering and it does its job well. I would love to see a more modern cabin and maybe even a class higher than the normal first class. I'm thinking about something like Trenitalia has or NTV in Italy. But overall, this was a very enjoyable trip. So once again, I would like to hear your opinion, maybe even your personal stories with the French railways. I always love to read about that, so feel free to leave a comment, that is much appreciated. Also, please don't forget to subscribe, there are many more videos to come, and in spite of the current situation, I think I will be still able to provide some new content as well, just as I did in the previous video. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this time. I hope you enjoyed this little trip report. Thank you for tuning in and have a great day wherever you're watching.